with caution.
Hello fellow drunken fighters and welcome to my guide about Jamie. This is where I share everything that I could find about Jamie in the closed beta, from how to play him, from combos to meaties and all that good stuff. If you like this, please like, share and subscribe if you found the video helpful. And without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, well here we are, and let's go over his normals first, and let me give you a small explanation on what all these buttons can do. So let's go with the standing jab. It's 5-frame startup, not his best button. I probably would advise you to go crouching jab for most of the situations, because it is a 4-frame startup and that's his fastest light button. All the others are 5-frame startup, and that's pretty much all I can be said about that. You can confirm these from lights into his Rekka, and if you are on drunk level 1 you can confirm this into the target combo. Then we have crouching light kick. It's a 5-frame startup, but in my opinion, like, it's pretty good if you want to put up the pressure in the corner, for example. And usually, from my understanding, is that a lot of people obviously will try to drive impact. Drive impact is, as a lot of people predicted that played the Street Fighter 6 before the beta, was going to be an issue. And if you do like strings from a light, it gives you enough time to react with your own drive impact and counter that. So crouching light kick obviously hits low. It connects from crouching light punch, and it can go into standing light punch as well. So you still get a lot of confirms from that if they decide to press buttons, and you will be safe if they go for a drive impact. Alright, next up we have his medium buttons. Now let's start with standing medium punch. Standing medium punch is, in my opinion, probably one of his better moves. The reason for that is if you have a punish counter. Let's see if I can show you this. I'm still struggling with all the menus so far, but if you get a punish counter, you can link that into his crouching fierce, which is his most damaging normal. And also this move is plus. This is probably the only button I found so far that is plus on block. So this one is +1 on block. All the others are this. You know, this one is -3, -1, -3, 0 frames. So it's crazy how this game is a lot different in terms of trying to, you know, be plus all the time, like some characters can do in Street Fighter 5, for example, Cody. And this game is a lot different. So having a +1 on block button is actually in this game really good. It can connect into a lot of stuff. It can go on regular counter hit, for example. It can go into this crouching medium punch, and then you can get a Rekka, because his standing medium punch is not special cancelable. So you need to go into another button. Also links into crouching medium kick, where you can do Rekkas instead. And yeah, it's a good combo starter. And like I said, on punish counter, it also links into crouching fierce, which is pretty good for big damage. Alright, next up is his crouching medium punch. Now his crouching medium punch, this is pretty interesting as well, because it's 2 frames faster than his standing medium punch, and it is special cancelable. So in some situations you obviously want to have a tighter string. You probably want to go for the crouching medium punch instead, but it doesn't have that much range. As you can see, it whiffs already, and the standing medium punch doesn't whiff from here on out. So be cautious when you're using this. Like I said, I don't use it that often, and I haven't really found any good uses for it, except like for a combo ender coming from standing medium punch, for example. But like I said, so far I haven't found that many uses for it. And next up is crouching medium kick. This crouching medium kick is really good in my opinion. It has a decent amount of range. Obviously you can drive rush it. It's special cancelable into Rekkas as well, and you know, you can keep them safe. It says -6, but there's not that much that can punish it. Some characters can actually punish it, so you have to be cautious in using this and make sure you space it correctly, because if you do it like this, for example, then there's going to be people that are going to be able to punish this, so be careful when using that. Other than that, it's a good poking tool. It can be a pretty good combo starter. keep up the pressure in the neutral, and you can activate it from drive rush to get like a decent combo from that, for example. Alright, now we go to standing medium kick. So standing medium kick is actually very interesting because this button, it doesn't look like it, but this button is special cancelable, as you can see. I probably use it. I use this tool a lot in the neutral game, footsies, like, you know. Let's see if I can show you an example. So we got whiff punish practice here. This, like, the training mode room has been insane. Maybe I should have read the text because I haven't used this before. But as you can see, he will whiff buttons, and you can react to that. So standing medium kick actually is a pretty good tool to get to catch their limbs. As you can see, you can stay out of their range and hit them, and you can buffer that into whatever you want to do. Usually I go into the palm, since it's probably the best option you can do, or you can actually go for a drive rush cancel to get some more damage out of it, and maybe even get a drinking level after that as well. Usually I would not advise this to use this in block strings, because I've seen this before. If people react with drive impact or just do drive impact at that moment, usually the window of canceling this move into drive impact will be too late for you, and the recovery is fairly slow. Let's see if I can show you this real quick. So as you can see, there is a lot of recovery of this move involved, and because of that, I would not recommend this, especially if you're playing against players that use drive impact a lot. Trust me, I speak from experience. It's not very fun to do that, and you still get countered in your recovery of this move. So yeah, use it as a footsie tool in the neutral. Like I said, it is pretty good, and you can buffer this into either drive rush or the palm. And you know, you can get a safe drink level out of that afterwards as well. So yeah, that's probably the main tool that I use it for. Alright, next up we have forward medium kick, aka the overhead. The overhead is actually, I feel like this overhead is pretty good in a couple of situations. First of all, I have discovered some Meaties setups with the overhead, and that involves obviously drive rush. So if you drive rush the overhead, you can link jabs from that and get a combo. If you have meter level, let's say drunk meter level 1, obviously you can get the target combo into Reka for a decent amount of damage, considering it's an overhead. So yeah, that's the main tool I use it for. However, if you are a drink level 2, he actually gets a new target combo from the overhead that, once again, on confirm, can increase your drink level. Obviously, once again, if you go for that follow-up, it is kinda risky. If you have the normal here, it's -3, so you're gonna be safe if you don't press buttons, obviously. But if you decide to not hit confirm it and you go for the extender, then you're on -14 and you are going to eat some big damage. So please do not do this unless you confirm it and you get that drinking level. Alright, moving on to the heavy buttons. So first off, we got Standing Fierce. Standing Fierce is a pretty interesting one. I actually haven't used this at all. The only time I use it is during a combo extender after DX Palm. You can get the first hit of Standing Medium Punch and then go into DP, aka Arrow Kick. That's the thing I used it for. It has 3 hits. So technically it could be good to block drive impact, maybe, I'm not even sure. But it does link from Standing Medium Punch, crazily enough. So as you can see, normally there's 3 hits, but you know, with the Standing Medium Punch we get 4. And it is special cancelable up until the 2nd hit. So you can get Rekas afterwards, but I'm not sure. Like, I haven't found a lot of use for it. It does have 5 frame startup, interestingly enough. For a heavy button, that's pretty good, as you can consider that my standing medium punch is 8 frames of startup and the heavy is 5 frames. So that is pretty interesting. Maybe someone in the future will figure something out about this, but so far, like I said, besides the combo extender here, I haven't found that many uses for it. Alright, next up is the Crouching Fierce. So I told you this before, the Crouching Fierce is his most damaging button, and it is used quite a bit to get max damage. As you all may or may not know, if you go for a Drive Rush, the next normal that you will use has extra frames. So as you can see here, after a Drive Rush, I get 9 frames of the standing medium punch, whereas normally if I hit this normally it's +5, so you get a 4 frame extra advantage on hit. So what that means is if you do a Drive Rush, you can actually combo into the Crouching Heavy Punch to get a lot of damage. And well, if you want to go for max damage, for example, you could do something like this, into this, into another one. As you can see, that damage was already piling up. So yeah, that's probably the only thing that I could say is if you want to go for max damage, for example, after a stun, or you get you drive impact someone, for example, on counter hit, then I would probably go for Crouching Heavy Punch. All right, moving on, we have his Standing Roundhouse, aka Standing Heavy Kick. This move is also special cancelable. It does have a lot of startup, 15, has a decent amount of range, but don't get distracted by the fact of his animation. Like, I at first actually thought that this could have been a move that goes slightly over crouching normals, but it does not. It just gets stuffed. Besides that, I use this tool quite a bit to get to use into Drive Rush cancels. The reason for that being is it does have a good amount of block stun. Let's see if I can show you this here. So it is -5, but if you cancel this into Drive Rush, for some reason it shows it's -29, but I'm not too sure about it. But it does give, obviously it's a heavy attack, so like doing this from Drive Rush gives you a free opportunity to go for strings, or even go for the command grab if you're drink level 3. Or go for, let's say, an overhead, and you know, because of Drive Rush, the overhead is going to be plus as well. You can get a combo from that too. So that's the main reason I use it. I haven't really used this to get into a hit confirm or cancel it for any reason so far. Yeah, like I said, usually I go for Drive Rush instead. And you get some decent damage from that as well. Keep in mind, this is all in no drink level. We will discuss drink levels later on in this guy. Alright, next up we have the Crouching Heavy Kick, aka his sweep. And this one is actually, I feel like this one is pretty good, but it is heavily punishable on block. You can do is you can just go for this one. This one is already -10, so it's pretty risky. But it also has a follow-up, and which is just like an extra kick button. And if you do an extra punch button, you can get a drink from it. You gain a drink level. So it is pretty good in the neutral game, I would say. Like, it does have a little bit more range than, for example, your Crouching Medium Kick. You still have to be aware, like I said, on when to use it. But if you confirm it, you get that safe free drinking level, and you'll still be +3, and you'll still reset it back to neutral. So it is risky, but the reward obviously is pretty good. Alright, and finally we have the forward roundhouse as well. Now, so far there is not that much use for this move in my opinion. It does have a lot, it covers a lot of range, and especially it covers a lot of range in Drive Rush, which is actually insane to me that it hits almost hits full screen, as you can see. So it's close to full screen that you can actually get a hit from this and be +7. But Mainly what I have been using for is obviously, like I said, it has good range and it is super cancelable, so you can get, for example, level 2 and then you can get a combo from that. Or you can, on block for example, you can actually go into the command grab as well. And that is probably the only thing I've used it for. So far I have been practicing on using to get a hit confirm with it for level 1 super. I feel like it could be useful to do that instead. But yeah, that is all that I have found to use for so far for forward roundhouse. Alright, and now on to some normals and target combos that I actually have not really found a good use for. So it's actually mainly target combos. So let's go over to Hermit's Elbow, for example. An elbow strike that can be cancelled into super art. This move's effect changes at drink level 3, making it more powerful. And that's true, you can get a target combo at level 3. So let's have a look at that. So this is the normal on I don't think it actually changes. Oh, it does. So the animation of the first one changes as well. So you can actually I guess you can cancel that in every super as well. But so far, like, I haven't really found any use for it. Let's have a look at the frame data for this move on block as well. So it's -3 on block, not very favorable. And then let's look at the one on level 3. So also on level 3 drink level, it becomes still -3. And here you have the target combo. But as you can see, sometimes it combos and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why, which is kind of weird actually. It seems to work for now, but so far I haven't really found any use for it. It is funny that he lunges a little bit backwards before doing the move, but see, there it is again. There it whiffs again. It doesn't combo. So it's very unreliable, I feel like, and I would not know why you want to use this combo. So yeah, very not entirely. I'm not entirely sure. Like at first I didn't want to include in it, but you know, it's the closed beta. Not everyone has access to everything that's available. So yeah, I wanted to include everything that there is. Alright, and the last one is a level 4 target combo, which that means the forward HK changes into level 4, and if you do back HK after that, you go back into this neutral stance all the way back. But if you press punch straight away, you get the headbutt. And I'm assuming that there's definitely a gap between these two normals. It does knock down though, and if you wait with pressing punch, you should actually get something else. There we go. Then you get these 3 punches. Maybe if you see the opponent throwing, you could maybe punish this. And this is special cancelable, as you can see. So we can go into big dig damage with that. I think Bolt Strike on Twitter actually posted a damaging combo into level 3 super, yada yada yada, with this target combo. So it actually does decent damage for a target combo as a starter for sure, and it's still there's no damage scaling on it. But yeah, so far in the neutral game, I haven't really actually found any use for it. Like I said, this could be good to maybe do for a shimmy in a very drunken kung fu style way, you know, and next time you can bait them with the headbutt. I'm not entirely sure, but if anyone has found something that is useful, to use for this, like let me know, and you know, I would love to see some footage or something like that if you have it available. But yeah, I wanted to include it because, like I said, not everyone has access to the closed beta, and you know, it's part of his moveset. All right, let's go over his jumping pretty quickly here. So, jumping roundhouse, I would probably not advise to use this move if you're going for a combo when the character is on the ground. Jumping heavy kick is mainly used to get an extra juggle in the air. As you can see, there's a ton of buttons or moves that you can use, or combos to extend this and get a juggle. For example, the one that we were already aware that existed, I think this one existed for a few months now, is, let me just show you this real quickly. So yeah, you see this one is a pretty decent combo using from Drive. So far I haven't actually used this because, you know, I think this one is actually better to go for. It's a little bit less damage, but you know, if you go for this move, which is a special, is a unique button for Jamie, I would probably, if the first hit of the Drive Rush, you know, the standing roundhouse is getting blocked, then I'm not sure if you want to go for that, because it is -8, and even in Drive Rush it's still -4. So yeah, I would not recommend this. Whereas if you go for Drive Rush into standing medium punch, obviously you're +5, so you know, you can do whatever you want after that. Next up we have his jumping fierce. And this is probably the button that I would go for if you want to, you know, jump over a fireball and get some damage in, or go for max damage instead. And this is probably the button to go. And yeah, that's pretty much all that can be said about that, you know. All right, next on we have the jumping medium kick. This is your go-to button if you want to cross up and do stuff like that, you know. If you're not entirely sure if you're gonna get the hit, or if you're not entirely sure if you're gonna land in front or behind, then you would probably go for the jumping medium kick instead. Jumping medium punch, on the other hand, this is an interesting button, and it seems like almost every character so far has a button like this. But this one has juggle potential, and if you have drink level 1, you get access to your dive kick, so you can extend this move from there on out. So it has a lot of juggle potentials here. As you can see, you can just normally get that as well. So it's a good air-to-air button, I would say. And it's also being used in combos to get an extension in juggles, which I will show you later on. Alright, next up is jumping light punch and jumping light kick. I want to get over this really quickly because, like, so far I haven't really found any use for it. Maybe I was actually trying, yeah, you can actually get, this is pretty interesting, you can get a fuzzy guard with the jumping light punch, and you know, that actually might be good even with the jump back. As you can see, this could actually be really good. So far I haven't really tested it out, but yeah, I would not be surprised people using this eventually. Jumping light kick, not entirely sure if there's any use for it. Yeah, it's kind of hard to say. Like, obviously, as you can see, it doesn't cross up, so maybe it could have an advantage in that regard, but it does not. Wait, what? Okay, that's actually kind of weird. Alright, so well, it seems like I just learned something new as well. His jumping light punch actually crosses up. That is crazy that works. But yeah, I would probably use it for a fuzzy guard instead. So yeah, keep that in mind. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is throws. So, in my opinion, Jamie has a couple of decent throws. Let me begin with mid-screen with his forward throw. His forward throw is, in my opinion, not always a throw that is safe to use after a drink level. Some characters can punish it. However, his back throw, for example, is a lot better in that regard because the distance is a lot further. So it's a lot safer. Sometimes I had people punish me, like it's a 50 frame animation of the drink level, and with the forward With the forward throw, I've seen people just dash at me and be able to punish me still, considering the range. And that is not the case with a back throw. Moving on. Jamie's throw game in the corner is actually really strong. So far, I figured out that most of the characters actually have a really strong throw game in the corner. But what I figured out about Jamie so far is if you do a forward throw, do a dash. Let me just turn off the light punch wake up. Otherwise, we will not be able to see the frame data. So if I do forward throw into dash, we are still +4 on Luke's wake up. So that is really good. So that means we can go for a meaty button here. We can go for throw again. We can do a lot of stuff. And I figured that was something to show you guys that is pretty good about Jamie's throw. So he has a really good throw game in the corner. Alright, let's go over to special moves. So the first one we're going to talk about is the Devil Inside, aka his drinking animation to get his drinking levels up. Obviously, this is Jamie's gameplay is all about getting his drink levels up, because the more drink levels he gets, the more access he gets to new moves, new target combos, new special moves or different animations for the special moves, etc, including a command grab as well on drink level 3, which is pretty good to have, obviously. Be aware that this move has 50 frames of animation, so be careful to just use this in the neutral game. A lot of people can just react to it, including Jamie. If you do this in a mirror match, for example, and I see you drinking, you better believe that I'm just going to palm you. And if you get hit by the palm, that will allow the opponent to get a free drinking level because you're knocked down on the floor. So in conclusion, you missed the opportunity, because if you can't get off the full animation, you will not get the drinking level, and that means you gave your opponent a free drinking level. So be careful when you use this in the neutral. And other than that, yeah, drink as much as you can because it makes you stronger. Alright, next up we have the Free Flow Strike, aka the Rekkas. Rekkas are pretty good in my opinion. Obviously, it is your go-to tool, especially I would say on no drink level and drink level 1. And even then, even at drink level 4, you're gonna use it quite a bit, because sometimes you don't have any other move to use. And you can safely, it's not entirely safe because it's -6. But as you can see, it has a decent amount of range, and even though it's -6, if you space it well, you are going to be safe. All the Rekkas have the same recovery. As you can see, they're all -6, so it doesn't really matter which one you use. But obviously, as you can see, the medium one lunges a lot more forward. The medium one does the same thing. So, you know, be aware of that spacing as I just talked about, or you can be punished for it. Besides that, yeah, Rekka's pretty good, and it has a pretty good amount of frame advantage on knockdown. So as you can see, we are +27 on hit after the ender. So that is something to be aware of, that this is definitely a good ender in the corner to, you know, go for throw, go for a meaty or anything like that. Alright, the next one is Free Flow Kick. And this is pretty much the same thing, except instead of going for the puncher, we go for the kick ender. And this one is very important because every hit confirm we get into Rekka will allow us to get more drink levels up. And like I just explained, that is important to unlock new moves and stuff like that. But be aware if you're going to use this in the corner, and if you're playing against Jamie, don't let people get away with this, because I've seen a lot of high level matches where people just get away with it. This move, if you go for the drink ender, it is -1. So your opponent can mash buttons, and this is the reason why I would not advise to use the kick ender in the corner, because you will give up your pressure. Obviously, if you do it mid-screen, you know, that's okay, because you reset it back to the neutral and you get a drinking level for it. So that is super great. Alright, next up we have the Swagger Step, aka the Palm. So like I explained, this move is pretty good. It is not the best damage ender. However, if you go for the full Rekkas here, you can't cancel this into super. You can only get the first hit to cancel into super, level 3. Obviously, because you can't do level 1 and level 2 super straight from a special move. You can cancel that. However, like I said, it is pretty good to use with standing medium kick and to buffer into that. So you can get a free drinking level, or you can cancel that into level 3 and get some decent damage. Besides that, there's not much to talk about. You can use this in the corner as well. If you spend EX on it, you can actually get a follow-up in the corner. So you can get some more damage after that. Other than that, it is a pretty good move. As I said, it is pretty good to use against in the mirror match. If you see that your opponent is drinking, just go for a palm strike. I would not recommend to go for the heavy one. It has a bit more range than the medium one, but it is a lot slower as well. So if you see your enemy drinking, usually you're trying to be in a neutral position a little bit, so make sure you can stop them. You can even use light punch if you want, if you're fairly close. Yeah, that's about the usage that I have found for the move, and this move will come back later on. Alright, next up we have the arrow kick, which is Jamie's DP. Not much to talk about. Obviously, this move is pretty good to use as an anti-air, and in this game I have figured out that you can use all 3 versions. It just depends a little bit on how fast you use them, because sometimes if you go for roundhouse, for example, it gives you the most damage. It gives you 3 hits, it does 1260 damage, medium one does 1080, and the light one does 900, but they all have different startups. So the light one has 6 frames, medium one has 8 frames, and the heavy one has 10 frames. So be careful when you use these. Obviously, usually I go for heavy, unless there is a certain situation like versus Kimberly, for example. I would like to use the medium version instead, because she has a certain amount of setups. She can do a special move where she can still be airborne and go for a double jump. So in those situations, I like to use a little bit of a faster DP, but all of them are viable to use. And they also have a little bit of use in combos. You can get them with a... Shut up, Luke. You can get them for combo extenders as well, for example. In this example, or with the EX Palm Strike like I talked about. Can be used as a combo ender as well. Alright, next up we have the Dive Kick, and this special move becomes available at drink level 1 with all the different ranges. You have the Light Kick, which goes pretty straight down forward. You have the medium version, which is a little bit more down forward, I would say, and then the heavy goes fairly forward. And you also have the EX, obviously, which is really fast, and you can get a juggle after that as well. Is in my opinion very, very important, and the reason for that is so far almost the entire beta cast, except Kimberly, if I'm not mistaken, Kimberly and Jamie. Besides that, all the other characters have some sort of fireballs, and especially versus Luke, for example, or Guile, it can be very annoying to get in. Is my experience with Jamie so far, and I feel like his dive kick just makes that life a little bit less hell. Because obviously you can also fake them out with man, I'm playing on hitbox and it's not easy. For example, I'm not sure why I struggle with this sometimes, but sometimes I just forget to press the down button. But anyways, the dive kick is pretty good. Like I said, the light kick version can be used to bait out a DP and get a heavy punish, and besides that, yeah, it just can be good to close the gap real fast from a distance where a regular jump would not be able to do that. Obviously, if you space it well, as you can see, I'm +2 here, so I'm safe. I can press a button You know, but that required me to hit it very, very low. As you can see here, this one is a little bit higher. It's already -3. EX here is +4. So, you know, spacing is obviously important. But as you can see, it's a good way to close the gap. And with EX, you can get a juggle after that and, you know, be +40 in this situation here. So, yeah. In my opinion, if you want some general advice for Jamie right now, getting the first drink level is crucial. You just want to have access to that dive kick, and normally that should not really be a problem to achieve it, but some characters, especially Guile so far, I feel like, can prevent that from happening. Ryu as well a little bit. As you like, those two characters have very good fireballs. Fireballs are also really fast in this game, so getting one off in a neutral is almost impossible against those characters. And so you want to have, you need to have at least to get a hit confirmed from Rekkas or from a sweep in order to get access to that. And sometimes that can be pretty rough. But besides that, yeah, dive kick obviously really good, and I would definitely advise you to use it to its full extent. All right, next up we have the Bakai, aka I like to call this the breakdance move. This move is very good as well. It is at level 2. It is probably the most high damaging that you can be. So you have to make a choice what you want to do. If you want to go for more damage or get an extra drink level up. So for example, if you want to do this from, let's say, Crouching Fierce, you can get Rekka, which is 2165. But if you do this with the Bakai, it's 2700, so that's a lot more. This move is also cancelable into super, so this is probably your ender that you want to go for. Also, instead of doing the target combo with Rekka, this medium punch, this is 1700. Light kick Bakai, 1860. So every move just does a little bit more damage in Bakai. And there are some setups that you can do off of this move to get a meaty out of this as well, but I will talk about that later on. One thing that I do have to add for the Bakai is that it goes through fireballs. All 3 versions go through fireballs, however I feel like the light version is probably the easiest due to faster startup, obviously. I'm gonna at least show you guys an example. As you can see, that it goes through and that I can still get the punish. And actually with light kick, it's actually fairly doable, as you can see. Alright, let's talk about the tension, aka the command grab that becomes available at level 3. So yeah, pretty straightforward. It's a command grab. You know, you get free damage out of it if you use this version. You can get a medium punch into the target combo. And that's so far the best thing that I have found to get a command with the command grab. Obviously, you can go into the Kai as well. You know, it's 1565 is not bad, but you know, you get that free pressure. It can be useful in a lot of things, like especially on block, like I talked about. You can go from standing around us into driver's cancel, into the command grab, EX, or the regular one. EX does give you more options, so if you do EX command grab, you can start with crouching heavy punch to get a little bit more damage. Obviously, you have to spend 2 drive meters for it, but in my opinion, it's definitely worth it to get some more damage because the difference in damage is kind of big. All right, last but not least, we have the Swagger Hermit Punch, aka in my opinion the extender. And this is pretty similar to the Bakai, where if you want to go for max damage, then this is the special that you want to go for. So for example, if we get a standing medium punch confirmed, you can go into target combo, as you all know. And you see you get 2640 damage off of that. As we all know, it's a lot better than this. Just a little bit more every single time. So probably if you want to go for damage, this is your go-to button, and that is pretty much about it for that move. Well, that was everything that I could find so far. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, share, and subscribe if you did, so we can spread this information through the fighting game community as much as we can. And also, let me share with all the other closed beta testers. Please share me what you have found with Jamie as well. I would love to see some stuff. Obviously, I've seen a lot of stuff on Twitter, and I took some stuff here and there to compile it for you guys. But most of the stuff that I showed in here is through my own experience with playing the game. So yeah, that was it. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to stay cautious, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.